Rise of the Elements, Part 1, The Lost Element by Radiant Dawn, Chapter 1, A Brave New World. My name is Drew. I'm a 25-year-old college student, working and living at home. I am not tall, only being about 6 foot, while my younger brother somehow got to 6'7". Little brother. Yeah, right. I have dark brown hair, which I have kept short because I'm too lazy to do anything with it in the mornings. However, I have always been told my eyes are the most interesting physical trait about me, brown and green. Both eyes are the same, but each iris is brown in the middle with a sunburst pattern with a faded green on the outside. Doctors said it was part of my condition, something to do with increased light sensitivity. Good news, I can see well in the dark. Bad news, bright lights make my head hurt in the same way your eyes burn when you first wake up in the morning. Turn on a bright light. I had always gotten teased for it in high school. Looking back, I'm not quite sure how you could come up with a legitimate insult for eyes like mine, but being the angsty teenager I was at the time, my feelings got hurt easily. Having few friends, I have always made sure to be close and loyal to the ones I had. It always paid off. My friends would do anything for me, and I for them. Keeping only two friends from my high school years, we are now close as my own family, so I consider them as such. Although hardships I have been through, both family and friends, I became fiercely protected of them. I awoke from a deep sleep with a start, quickly checking to make sure I was indeed still in my bed and unharmed. I then tiptoed over to my sister's room to check on her, a growing feeling of dread building as I heard no sound from the room before me. As I slowly cracked the door, I peered into the dark room, searching for my peace of mind. Relief washed over me when I saw her figure on the bed before me, soft breathing signaling that she was asleep. I walked over to her bedside. Looking at her face, a smile flicked onto my face, and I leaned in to kiss her forehead before closing the door and crossing the hallway back to my room. Upon entering my room, I glanced at the clock. Damn, 2:30? Why, God, why? I figured that at this point sleep would be impossible. So I grabbed my phone and began to browse a fanfiction site for some good stories to read until it was time to get up. None of this was an uncommon thing for me. Beginning at a young age, I began to have vivid dreams of things, terrible things, horrible things that I feel that may have driven me a bit insane. Dreams of death, of loss, of war, although though the frightening feeling I felt when awakened in such a way never waned. I had tempered my resolve not to wake up screaming every time it happened. Needless to say, my family preferred it this way. As I browsed the fanfiction site I found a couple months ago, I was yet again drawn to the My Little Pony section. I had watched the show for the first time months ago, curious as to what all the hype was about, thinking it would be another boring kiddie show. I was pleasantly surprised when I found myself drawn into the story. The characters were well made, and while it's obvious this program was made to be marketed to young girls, I began to realize what all the bronies were on about. While I never considered myself a brony, I could honestly admit to myself that I enjoyed the show, and often found myself waiting for the next installment with excitement. Shortly after finding out about the fan fiction stories, I've often found myself enthralled and often daydreaming about how awesome it would be to actually meet and make friends with these characters. I've catch myself standing in the rain on cloudy nights, just staring at the moon, a little fantasy playing in my head. This night, however, would be different. It was about 5 o'clock, and I had just arrived home from work. I did my usual routine of greeting and feeding my dogs, cleaning up myself, and changing. I gave a strong hug to my sister, telling her I loved her, and I thought I'd take a walk up the street, seeing how such a nice day should be not wasted. A nice day to me, being overcast and cool with a light autumn drizzle. I decide I walk into town and say hello to the neighbors for a change. By the time I made it back home, my mother had arrived home from errands, and the sun was just beginning to touch the horizon, causing the beautiful reds, oranges, and purples of dusk to appear. I marveled at just how beautiful it was. Truly, it was the simple things in life that are important. Almost without thinking, I whispered, "Thank you, Celestia," to the evening. At that moment, the first star of the night became visible, next to the crescent moon, as the cool air of the early evening cleared the clouds away. It twinkled, almost as if winking at me. I chuckled at the prospect. "Don't worry, Luna. I haven't forgotten about you. Thank you for your beautiful night that I love so much. I wish I could meet you and your sister and tell you in person how much I love what you do," I thought. I walked back into my house, not noticing that the same star suddenly flashing very bright before waning back to its original luminescence. After showering and getting ready for bed, I found myself wide awake, unable to sleep, so I simply sat in the window nook next to my bed and stared at the night sky. I soon found my mind going back to a fairly new yearning within my heart, and I smiled as I thought of the little ponies I cared about, although I would never get to meet them. My momentary waking dream was interrupted as I felt, rather than heard, something in my room. Never having been a paranoid guy, I suddenly found myself intrigued rather than scared. I scanned the room for anything out of the ordinary. Being a night owl, I often would be awake at the late hours, so I knew my room well. My eyes settled on the shadow in the corner of my room that shouldn't be there. Always the one to play the possibility, freaking out someone who thinks you're being sneaky. I simply said, "I know you're there. I can see you," not really expecting anyone to respond. I turned back to the window and gazed at the stars. I then heard shuffling from behind me and felt the presence standing behind me. Thinking it was my sister, I said, "Hey Jen, what's the matter? Can't sleep neither?" Silence followed before she said, "Why wouldst we sleep when the night is our domain?" That voice, while definitely female, that wasn't my sister. I slowly turned to find myself staring at a dark blue face with bright blue eyes. It was staring at me incredulously, as if questioning how to handle the situation. I stood back against the window in sudden panic. Fear was not something I often felt anymore. "Be not afraid. We do not intend to harm you," she said plainly. I relaxed a little, although still gazed at the creature with wary eyes. The last of the clouds cleared away from the moon and sky, allowing me to see in detail the one who stood before me. She was a horse-like creature, with dark blue fur and a flowing mane and tail a lighter blue, which seemed to simmer when it moved. She had a spiral horn on her forehead, and I saw wings carefully folded along her sides. Dear God, I finally lost it, I thought to myself. At this point, I assumed I was already insane, so I figured, what the hell, I'll go with it. I stood up in front of her, noticing that she was nearly tall as me, not including the horn. I dropped to a knee and bowed my head in reverence. Princess Luna. It is a pleasure, I greeted before standing again. The Luna goddess raised an eyebrow at me in confusion for a moment before speaking. You know me? I responded in a non-threatening tone. In a way, yes, but I must say, however, I never expected to actually meet you in person. In Pony? Whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. Her confusion suddenly subsided, and she giggled. I was pleased that she decided to drop the formal act. I was never one for formalities. It brings me joy that you will speak to me as you are. So many of my subjects were so afraid of me that they often not meet my eyes, much less speak to me. What made you choose to converse with me in such a way? Will not say your assumption was incorrect. Most will use speech with formalities and apologies, so as not to incur my perceived wrath. I snorted with a grin. You're meeting me, a stranger, face to face in my bedroom. I think formality has gone out of the window, so to speak. She suddenly blushed furiously. Oh, I apologize for intruding in your private chambers. It was not decent of me to do so. She suddenly found the floor very interesting. I smiled a warm smile. Oh yeah, so much cuter in real life. I placed a finger on her chin, moving her head up to meet my eyes again. Her eyes started around in embarrassment. Princess, look at me, please. She would not meet my eyes. I decided to be a little more assertive. Luna, look at me. She finally gazed into my eyes again, a blush still kissing her cheeks. You didn't do anything wrong. I did say I wanted to meet you after all. In all honesty, I never thought I would actually to meet you, so I'm honestly too happy to let a little thing like a minor invasion of privacy bother me. She accepted this, the blush disappearing as she physically relaxed again. For the rest of the night, we spoke of a great many things, seeing how I already knew a bit about her. Most of the conversations were her asking questions about me and my life, while I attempted to explain in terms she would understand easily. While definitely not stupid, my world has much different than hers. Something so simple as a car was a foreign concept to her. As the night wore on, and the first hints of light began to kiss the horizon, I suddenly felt a little depressed when I saw it. She noticed this and became concerned. What is wrong, Drew? You seem rather down suddenly, she inquired. I sighed softly and turned to her. It's just that I know you can't stay here. You have to get back to your world. I just worry that when I wake up, this will have all been a vivid dream, and it never actually happened. I was crestfallen, and she noticed. She smiled a bit before replying, Well, I did not come here simply to thank you for your reverie in my beautiful night. I came here with a personal invitation. Would you like to guess what I am referring to? I sat still, with mouth ajar, awestruck. Here was a royal princess, nay, a goddess, asking if I wanted to come with her to a world of my dreams, or at least I hoped so. My mind began racing so fast and then stopped on one thing: my family. I just can't leave them. I let out a shaky, pained breath before responding with a simple, "I can't leave." She looked at me in disbelief and sadness. "Why, why not? I thought you wanted this," she almost yelled. I hushed her, remembering my sleeping family. "I'm sorry, Luna. I can't leave my family. Imagine the love you have for your sister. Now imagine being asked to leave her forever. I know you couldn't do that, and I can't do that neither. I'm sorry. I want this. I really do. But my family comes first." Her expression immediately changed from hurt to a gentle smile. I stared at her confused. "What?" She simply giggled and shook her head. "Well, I could never ask you to do that. That is why they'll be coming with you. Jaw, meet Floor. Floor, meet Jaw. Here, ball. Play nice." After what felt like an eternity, I realized she was waiting for my answer, so I quickly composed myself and noticed she was barely containing a laugh. I looked down and noticed that I had been drooling a little. I huffed and said, "Ha ha ha, very funny." I'm completely caught off guard with that. Don't judge me. Before I could make my decision, something was bothering me that I had to address. "Why me? I'm pretty sure I'm not the only human in the world of 6 billion people that enjoys your night, nor the only one that enjoys it and knows about you. That and the fact that myself, not to mention my family, are strangers. Why and how are you so trusting that we won't hurt you or the other ponies or something?" He smiled again. The warmth from it instantly calmed me. "I and my sister choose you because of the strong compassion, love, and loyalty that you have shown to your family and friends. Yes, Tia knows about you as well, and this was a joint decision between us. Where you treat your family and friends is something we value and encourage in our land. And you also have other qualities that we may need to call upon, as does your family. While it is true this is the first time we have spoken, you are no stranger. Being on the moon for millennia may have left me with stunted understanding of the modern world. Make no mistake, I am no fool. I have watched you and your family from afar. My sister has as well. We know that while you make mistakes, you do not have malicious intent. Besides, being as we are, what made you think that my sister and I could not deal with any of you should you pose a problem?" I knew over this and nodded. "Okay, point taken. I have to say, though, I don't know how my family will react to such a change. My sister will probably love it. My mom will warm up to it eventually. But my brother, I'm not so sure. If you have watched us, I'm sure you're aware of his tendencies toward females as well as his pent-up anger, resentment for the only father he ever known just walking out on him. I want him there with me, as I trust him, and he changed a lot over the years. Still, I just don't know." He smiled, that same smile I'd grown to like. "Must be magic. I understand your concerns, and I am confident that you will watch out for him and ease him into the new life. As you are aware, I know the damage anger and hatred can do to one's soul. I also know, however, that your world is partly to blame for this. Your world is corrupted. Well, can't argue with that. Well then, I guess that's pretty much everything. When do we leave? She bounced in excitement at my acceptance of her offer. Well, we'll be able to leave immediately if you're ready. I will change your physical form to something more suited to our world, though, if you don't mind. I was never more ready for this than now. Sounds good, Luna. Although we might want to give it a day or two for my family to adjust and let me explain what's going on before they get changed. Yet again, this whole unknown reaction thing comes into play. I wouldn't want to wake up in a body I didn't go to sleep with and have no idea what happened or why. Shock of waking up in a different world will be enough to deal with for now. She nodded. Very well. I'm sure you know my friend Twilight Sparkle. They can stay with her in her library while they adjust. I will send a letter to her before we leave, explaining the situation. I'm sure she'll be glad to help. I nodded back. Okay, well, since I'll not have fingers anymore or need to wear clothes, I guess I'll just pack some clothes for my family. She waved her hoof dismissively. Already taken care of. I stared with her with a howl face on. She leans in close and whispers, Magic. I decided not to question further. I suddenly became a little sad. It's too bad. I would have loved to bring my guitar's MP3 player, but I guess without fingers, I really won't be able to use them anymore. I really wanted to show everyone my music. She smiled again. Ugh, that damn smile. Do not worry. You still will be able to use them. You may bring them if you wish. I was beaming. Final Scratch is going to have fun with this music. Luna and I spent the next half hour of the remaining night getting my things ready to go. I was shaking with anticipation, but wanted to be sure I had everything I might need. When I was ready, I signaled to Luna to come close. She followed me downstairs, and somehow her hooves not making any noise on the wooden stairs. She will have to teach me how to do that sometime. I gathered my belongings and nodded at the navy blue pony. Okay, Luna, then we're all set. Ready when you are. Ready when you are. She nodded and I watched as a dark blue aura emanated from her horn surrounding me. It tingled a little, and I felt the need to scratch my arms. Next thing I knew, there was a bright flash and I blacked out.